This is the day the Lord has made. We'll be glad and rejoice in it. In the sweet heat of Africa, we bring you another exciting edition of Badu's Unscripted with me, Dora Badu Owusu Aduma. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Badu's Unscripted. You know, to make it even nicer, you have to stretch the unscripted. Unscripted. Yes. And you know, St. Paul says that he wished that all men could be like him, but each has his own gift. What is your calling? Do you want to marry or join the priesthood? A special thank you to Leron Collections and Portia Splash for styling me. And today I have with me my own father. He's a special man. He has a lot of daughters. If you should see this man, the man that has a lot of daughters, you'll be amazed. And he's no other than Reverend Father Prince Emmanuel Adelaayitar. Father, welcome to Unscripted.
Thank you very much.
I've missed you. It's been a while.
You don't look for me.
I'll call you after this episode. But why the priesthood?
Well, I have always wanted to be a priest. I can go as far back as when I was in primary school. And you were given the normal essay, what do you want to be in future? And what do I write? I write, I want to be a priest. And my mates meet me today and like, this thing you used to say when we were in class, you know. And I remember during those days, still a child in primary school, I'll go home and in the evening I'll call the children in the area and I'll be celebrating mass for them. So I've always wanted to be a priest.
What does it take to be a priest?
First, you have to be a man. Okay. Yes, that's how it was. Jesus chose 12 men. You know, he loved his mother more than all of them, but he never made her one of them. So you can just imagine. And then the second thing is that you have to go through. You might have received a call. Now the call comes at different stages. For some people, the call is not like you are asleep and then God knocks on the door and say, I want you to become a priest. No. This one is just a desire. You have a strong desire to become a priest. Okay. And some get it very young, like my case. But I have a boss I'm working with right now. He had finished school, was working in the bank before the call came. So it depends on God and when he wants to call you. So the call is crucial. Now when you are called, you have to be formed. And the formation process now after SS takes about 10 years. Okay. And we do spirituality, we do philosophy, we learned a lot about psychology, philosophy and all those things. And then we do theology, the study of God, his relationship with us, and all that is done with us. We do that. And it's about 10 years in all. You have a year out where you work to gain some experience. Then after that comes your diaconate ordination. You're ordained as a deacon. Then after about 6 months, you're ordained a priest. Then you are ready to go.
So after the call, what's the motivating factor? Is it the offertory collection or the castle?
You know, if you had said before the call, I would have agreed with you, not after the call. Before the call, God can pull you with anything. Okay. Let me give you 2 examples. The first one was a young man decided to become a priest because he was in the mission house, and every time when they finished eating, it was just the bones. And he wanted to be one day somebody who also eats the meat and leave the bones for somebody else. And that was how he wanted. But obviously, when he entered the seminary, he realized it's not about bones. Yeah. It's something more important than that. Yeah. Another young man was pouring water on my hands at a function. I was washing my hands. And I kept insisting that he poured the water well so that I washed my hands very, very well. And he asked me why. And I told him, I was then a priest. And I told him, these hands hold the body and blood of Jesus. So they are very sacred. And that was when he had a desire to become a priest. It's very, very interesting.
Yes, it is. So how was childhood like? You said you had the passion right from primary school. How was childhood like?
First of all, let me give you the context. I grew up in a home where we had speaker levels, Anglos, and then we had Akans. Okay. So we're 2 families in the same house. My dad believed that relationship with God was key. So in fact, 5 a.m., the whole family is up. We're kneeling down, we're praying. I am half asleep, mumbling their fathers and the Hail Marys and all that, away. But he doesn't care. Once you are there and you are praying, that's the most important thing. But by the time I was 10 years old, I could pray on my own. Great. I began a relationship with God already. So that was very, very key. The other thing that was very key in our home was education. My dad said that he didn't reach a certain level of education, so he wanted all of us to reach that level. And so he did everything for us to go to school. And so that's guided my schooling all the way to the level that I eventually went to. So those were the factors that affected us, plus the love at home. And all of these have made me what I have become today.
Are you mommy's son or daddy's son?
My dad was a disciplinarian. If he asked you to do something and you made a mistake and you didn't do it, the cane was put in the water perpetually. So he just goes for it and you get your share. My mom was also a disciplinarian, but she was a loving disciplinarian. So there was love there. So I tended to get very close to my mom, to the extent that when I was 6 years old, my dad thought I was so close to my mom. So he took me away from her and then sent me to the Volta region, and I stayed with my grandma and my auntie.
Oh.
That caused the wound. I think it took me a long time to recover from that. Because you see, when you are taken away from your love and sent where you have to now readjust, it's not an easy thing for a child. And those were formative years, so they were very difficult for me. But you go through all of that. Yeah. And sometimes you find a reason why it all happened. Now I have to do services in my native language, but I learned most of it when I went to the Volta region. Yeah. So God has his own ways of doing some of these things, preparing us for the future.
Since you stayed with an Akan family, not secondary school to sing, SHS, not it is sing.
The big man called SHS. Me call old form 5 and 6 form.
Okay. School bay.
Man come. Me call creamer school. But I am from the creamer too.
Okay.
Okay, let me come back to you. So I went to Christian Methodist Secondary School because I didn't get all my choices after common entrance. I wrote common entrance when I got to class 6. Okay. Some wait on, they move on a bit more before they write it. And I think I got 224 over 400. That was very, very bad. So I missed all the 3 schools I chose: Pope John Secondary School, St. Peter's, and Aquinas. It was only, Crimeto was ready to take me. But Crimeto is the only institution I attended without going for extra classes anywhere, and I got my grades for the next level.
Why is that? Tell us.
Pope Johnson. Why is that?
Yes.
Very good lecturers. We didn't have everything that it takes. For example, the science, whatever. You don't have something compared to what the Achimotans have and all that. We didn't have. But the lectures were very good. And what happened was, during the holidays, they organized classes for students from the so-called very good schools. They come to our school, learn from them, and then go and pass the exams. And then they claim that they are better than us,
So you are the source.
So I missed distinction by 1 for O levels. But what it means is that if you, the student, work hard, you can make a difference. Yeah. I went to Pope John Secondary School with a letter from my parish priest to the headmaster, who was also a priest, begging that he takes me in. He opens the letter, looks at me and says, "Young man, your name is already on the notice board.
No. You
don't need a letter." So interesting.
So no matter where you come from, you just have to make the best out of it.
Make the best out of it.
Yeah, so how's a typical day like?
As a priest, my typical day begins around 4:45. You do the basic things that you're supposed to do, then we go into prayer. We pray for some time. And then prayer is basically adoration. That's what I do. That we believe Jesus is in the bread, the Eucharist. Right. So I adore him. And so he fills me with a lot of love to start the day with, basically. Then I go to the office at 8:30. so I can read through the case for the day. Because I work at the tribunal of the church, so we handle marriage cases. Yeah. And we're dealing with people who want annulment. So you read the case.
So annulment is people who want separation.
Okay, so let me explain that carefully. There is separation, there's divorce, there's annulment.
Okay.
Separation is when we can't live together, but we are made to stay, we call it to be separated from bed and table. So I'm in Lashibi and you are in Latebi or Koshi or whatever. And then, but then the marriage is still exists. You are still husband and wife. Okay. That's separation. Okay. The purpose is to seek counseling and come back together. Okay, that's separation. Now, scale of 1 to 10, 2 of them may come back together. The rest of the 8, they never come back together. Divorce is, we don't only want to live apart, we want the marriage to be ended so that we can marry again. That the Catholic Church doesn't grant. That's what the courts grant. So you go to the court and get your divorce. Annulment means that the marriage that we have had was never a marriage from the beginning. That's annulment.
So the wedding, the reception,
all
everything.
That. There was no marriage from the beginning. There are reasons why a marriage is not valid from the beginning. So they were never married. They may have 10 children, but they were never married.
Can you give us a reason, one reason?
Let me just give you the very popular reason these days. Infidelity. So let me give you an example. A young man has a girlfriend, then he falls in love with his future wife. And then he goes through the courtship and everything with the future wife, still keeping his girlfriend. And then he marries the future wife, still keeping the girlfriend.
Farm and garden.
And then they go through marriage, 10 years, have children, they break up, still keeping the girlfriend. And then after they break up, he brings the girlfriend home and makes her the new wife. All along that he said he was married to his wife, there was always somebody else. So he was lying when he stood on the altar there, on the sanctuary there, and said, I take you alone. That was a lie. And because there's a lie in there, God will not be part of it. He won't put you together.
Okay.
So the marriage was not valid right from the very beginning.
But you see, when you are blessing a marriage, you say, when what God has put together, let no man put asunder. And you've put people together, and then you are annulling it. What are the...
So it's God who puts together.
Okay.
But if there's a reason why God can't put together, that is when it is annulled.
Okay. Okay. And so I wanted you to finish your a typical day.
So I read the case.
Okay.
And then the couple come, then we decide on the reason why we should attack the marriage.
Okay.
And then one of the reasons is what I just mentioned. Then we interview the person who brought the case, the petitioner. Then we interview the respondent, the partner. Then we interview their witnesses, 3 each.
Okay.
Okay. Then we give the document to the next level, to the lawyer. So that doesn't concern me. Okay. So once I'm done with that, I go ahead with my other appointments for the day. Maybe I have a hospital call. Maybe I'm going to bless a house. Maybe somebody is broken and I need to do inner healing for the person. That takes a lot of time, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to sort the person out. So we do all of this. In the evening, I go for my evening prayers, do my supper, and then I watch a bit of TV, especially this guy called Trevor Noah.
Okay, Daily Show.
Daily Show. I watch the Daily Show because I want to know what Trump is
all
up
about
to again, you know. And then I go to bed eventually.
Okay, so like marriage, priesthood, do you also face all these attacks, temptations, and all that married couples face?
Yes. The first thing I want to say is that every vocation is tested. Immediately God says, do this, know that he will test you along the way. You remember Abraham? He's waited for a child all his life. A child comes now and God says, give me your child, sacrifice your child for me, you know. And Abraham passes the test, you know, amazingly, but I don't think I would have passed. That would be very, very difficult. So in every vocation, there are. So if I go before God and I say, I'm going to be obedient to my bishop, that's the first vow. And then the bishop says, pack your things and go to that village and go and work there.
Okay.
would I gather the courage to pack, leaving a very rich parish to a very poor place to go and work there? So that's a test of my vow. If I take a vow of celibate chastity, and then I fall in love with the woman, God is watching to see what I'm going to do. Would I go ahead with her, or would I work on the feeling so that I'm set free from her and probably keep her as a friend? So these are the challenges that come, and they come. And if they come your way, the Lord is watching to see what you're going to do. Yeah. If you ask Him for help, this point is very, very important. If you ask Him for help, He will help you. Help. Yes, He will.
I told you, we're going to delve deeper into priesthood, lifestyle, and entertainment. This show brings you the fun side. He's informed us about a lot of things that goes into the priesthood. But when we come back, we have word of the day. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Badu's Unscripted. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media handles at Badu's Unscripted for the most exciting entertainment show. My guest is Father Prince Emmanuel Adelaayitar. When you see him in town, you can call him Papa P. That's his other name. Father, word of the day. What word do you have for us?
Promulgate.
What does it mean? Example, any history behind it?
It's a Latin word, actually. It's from a Latin word. It's promulgere, the Latin will say. But it's actually from milking cows.
Okay.
Those who milk cows, they say they are getting the milk out of the cow, and they use the word promulgere. Okay. But what it means is that you are dispersing something. You're bringing something out and dispersing it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're publicizing an idea, for example, or a belief. But if you look at it from the legal point of view, it's also got to do with promulgating a law or a rule. I can say that on this date, Akufo-Addo promulgated the new law concerning COVID-19, telling us that there are restrictions. You can't do this, you can do that, you can't do this, you can do that. Basically, that's what it means.
Thank you very much. So when next you come across that word promulgate, you know the meaning and when to use it. We'll be right back with a big question and big answer. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Badu's Unscripted. Now we have big question and big answer. And thanks to all our sponsors at Doom Farms. If you want the freshest village mushroom, oyster mushroom, snails, just contact at Doom Farms. Father, what's your favorite food?
So now I'm debating. There are three of them, so I'm debating which one is which. There's an Italian one called lasagna.
Okay.
There's the normal rice and stew, because we ended up eating rice and stew only twice in a year, Christmas and Easter when we were growing up. So rice became a delicacy, therefore. But the one that it took me a while to learn how to eat, which is very strange because I'm an Ewe, is banku and abobitadi.
Wow!
But I think I'll stay with the banku and abobitadi.
Father, music, movies, comedy.
I'll go for music.
Fruit juice, beer, wine, and spirits.
It used to be FJ, fruit juice.
Initially.
But I think now I'll stay with wine.
Okay.
Yes, for health reasons, actually.
What do you do at your leisure time?
I read a lot. Sometimes I walk. I go swimming if I have to swim. I watch movies. I make calls. I chat. Those are things I do when I'm free.
What's your favorite? Any memories from Cremeto or Pope John's?
Cremeto, two quick ones. The first one is that there was this girl who came to school. She joined us later. She didn't come Form 1, she came Form 2.
Okay.
And I just liked her. I liked her very much. But I couldn't gather courage to say I want to be her friend. You know, there was always that thing that I couldn't cross. And I thought I was the only one who noticed it. Remember one of my mates, he's now working with the people who collect all our money. I forgot him.
Is it GRA?
Yes. And he said to me a few years ago, now we are working and all that stuff, he said, I always watched you in school. There was a line you wouldn't cross. And when you became a priest, then it became clear to me. There's a way God seems to put a protection around you if you would listen to it, that guides you. So I thought that was one of the things that struck me. The other thing that struck me was another mate of mine told me when we were in Form 5 that I have the tendency of replying questions in whatever language in English.
Okay.
Whether they spoke Ga or Ewo or Akan, I was always replying in English. And it struck me that he noticed that. Interestingly enough, in my O-level exams, English was the only subject I had one.
Okay.
But how did that happen? Because I went to the Volta region, my standard went very low. So I started reading in class 5, when I should have been reading in class 2, class 3. So I was late. So I used to keep the money given for food to buy books.
Wow.
So I could read books. So by the time I was in Form 1, Form 2 in Christian Methodist Students, I was reading Robert Ludlam, The Matari Circle, The Born Identity, The Born Supremacy. I was reading books like that. And so that was what shaped my language for me.
Very impressive.
Yes, that's what shaped my language for me, basically. So those are things I remember, about Christian
Any
Methodist.
favorite sports? Any sport?
I tried volleyball.
How did
I
it
still
end?
play a bit of volleyball, but
It ended in tears.
I tell you, it was a complete disaster. I remember we had games at the LWAC, and I was one of the substitutes. And when they changed and I came in, the one guy went out, I came in. I didn't know what was happening on the court. It was so funny. And I felt so embarrassed. I never played volley with that team ever again, So those are things I remember and I laugh at myself. But my father was responsible for that. Form 3, he said no games.
Okay.
Your books, period.
Right. No games, only books. This is for students. Of course, we have to learn if we want to become better, or make the best out of ourselves in the future, and to make ourselves especially proud. We have to read, and reading is very, very important. If you don't have any knowledge, the scripture says, for lack of knowledge, people perish. So we do not want to perish, and so we read more. When we come back, do you know Father's favorite song? Okay, don't go anywhere. Welcome once again. This is Badu's Unscripted, and I have here Reverend Father Prince Emmanuel Adelaayitar. You can call him Papa P. Father, your choice of music sometimes surprises me. I know you like Chidinma. I fall in love with you.
Yes.
Why Chidinma?
I think, African Magic, when they show their movies, sometimes in between movies, they play a song. And one day I was in my room watching a movie, and then at the end of the movie, they started playing the song, and my heart just went out for the song. So I looked for it on YouTube, and I played it in my car over and over and over and over again. And anytime I have to give a talk on relationships, especially to the youth, to catch their attention, I begin with that song. I don't know the whole song, but at least with the refrain, I'm able to sing.
You have to sing it. You have to give us a freestyle.
I'm falling in love with you. Oh. I made up my mind for you. Oh. No matter the world I did with you. Oh. I'm falling in love with you. Oh. I made up my mind for you. Oh. No matter the world I did with you. Oh.
Father, let's stand and dance. Say. And that is where we sign off on Unscripted. You can only get this here right with us. And special thanks to Leron Collections and Portia Splash for styling me. Thank you, Father, for coming, and we are very, very, very pleased. And please don't forget to love, live, and make someone smile. Have a good day.